let's jump right into this video and see what the developers of Red Button have for us in the Battle of the Titans update 2.0.1 in the following video from a live stream.
I want some shiny gold balls to hand from my Torpits midsection B.O.T.
Well, you guys heard it. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm done here. Welcome back, everyone. Glad to be here with you in the year of 2019. So let's kick this thing off, and without further ado, the topic of today's discussion, Battle of the Titans Update 2.0.1, and what to expect. What does Red Button have for us? What do the developers have for us? What does Sergey and Nikolai have for us cranking? So let's see what's going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be our Titans. What are we going to see in this update? Well, I think one of the things that we're definitely going to see that has been hinted to, not only hinted to, but confirmed, is, of course, our speed of our Titans. So right now, we have the Torpits, which is our heavy Titan. Now, the Torpits is a great Titan, does a lot of damage, and you can pretty much do damage on slow speed of the Torpits also slows down gameplay, which then makes it kind of an unenjoyable experience when it takes half the game to get across the battlefield or either to the other side of the battlefield. Now, also, the Torpits' slow speed as of right now make it hard and make it vulnerable to a lot of the light bots like the M.A.O and the Little Sean, which are a lot faster and can attack it. Now, I think with the speed improvement and the speed bump to the Torpits, not only will that make the Torpits less vulnerable to the Little Sean and the M.A.O, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a good thing for the Torpits users out there, alright? But at the same time, I think the Torpits will be a more fun and enjoyable bot to use, as it will be able to move around faster, and it'll feel more or less like a little bit slow gameplay. So the gameplay will be a lot faster, it'll be more enjoyable. That is great. So what do we have next? We have the M.A.O. I'm thinking that the M.A.O. will also have a speed buff. Now, this isn't been confirmed. They're not going to tell us yet, but this is just my thought. This is just what I think is at one time like me, uses the M.A.O. a lot as it is a starting bot. With the speed that it's going at, it makes gameplay feel really slow, and especially when a lot of other players around you are using really fast bots like the Little Sean and the M.A.O, and even some medium bots that are faster like the Ravager. It makes it kind of a slow and hard gameplay to play with. Now, its comparison is our Ravager, and our Ravager is even moving faster than the M.A.O. and has fast capabilities. So when we look at it and we think about it, how can that be the case when they are almost equal and they should be on the same kind of area? So then our next bot that I'm thinking AI, because this is becoming a big component of the game, especially so early in the game when we don't see a lot of players on the three servers, which are Asia, Europe, and the USA, or the Americas. When we see not a lot of players right now, then the AI have to take the place of these players. Well, with that situation, there's also a lot of bugs that are happening right now in this game. And with those bugs, we're mostly seeing these bugs on the Titans AI point. So I think one of the main things that's going to be fixed is the Titans AI. And one of those exploits are the high ground exploit. I don't know if anyone's used it. I've personally used it. It's kind of crazy. But the way it works is that if you get in that really high area, like if you climb the tower in the desert map, any of the 2 towers, and there are no other teammates or team bots that are on your side, and there's just the enemy bots, they will actually not priority target you. They will actually target anyone who's on the ground. And if no one's on the ground, I've actually been up in the tower and shooting at the bots, and there's been no one targeting me, and the bots don't target me because I guess I'm above that vertical limit. So that's also another bug that they need to fix that I think they're going to fix. Now, another thing that I think people have been seeing is what's called the weird Titans prioritizing. Now, I've noticed that it's not really a big thing, but I think it's just big enough for them to fix so that when they do these overhauls in these bug fixes, I think they're definitely going to fix the weird prioritizing that happens whenever you're playing Battle of the Titans and you have a lot of AIs on one team and a lot of AIs on your team. It seems like a lot like the Titans prioritize each other, or the AIs, rather than prioritize the one human member or split up the sort of focus throughout the game on whoever's closer. So I just want to generally say about this update before we get any more in the video, that this update is generally supposed to be targeting towards performance issues. We're supposed to be fixing all the bugs and building up a good code, and then afterwards then we'll start seeing some more investments in bots and perhaps more investments in getting more of our player base and more players into the game. But the main reason why this update is focusing on just the code alone is because Red Button wants to build a good base, a good code, so then from there they can move on to making a better game before trying to branch out and overextend themselves by getting a lot of players in, but then having a really buggy, laggy, and bad game. None of us want that, so let's motivate them to make more good changes in terms of cleaning up this game's bugs and making the gameplay better all around for players and for people who are potentially going to be playing this game. So another thing I want to talk about, moving on back to our Titans, is the potentially new robot AIs. Now, there has been some discussion hinted towards what's going to happen with the robot AIs and how are they going to incorporate other Titans and having AIs control them rather than just humans control them. Now, 2 or 3 of those Titans is the Cormorant, the Mite, and the Nelly. Now, the Cormorant's a little bit different, so we're going to talk about that later, but the Mite and the Nelly are 2 that have been suggested in having AIs. Now, Sergey, the developers on Red Button LLC, according to Mech Berserker 4000, which, by the way, check out his channel. He has a great live stream. I highly suggest him. He answers all the questions you want to know. He's a great guy, so check him out when you get a chance. Anyways, moving on. Now, Mech Berserker, or Valdemir, he has suggested that Sergey has all of the programming ready to implement the Nelly and the Mite, but the problem with it is that the Nelly and the Mite implementation can't happen right now because there's a bug in their movements. Now, I think that's just due to the fact that they are spider-like bots that can climb walls vertically, and they can do all the climbing thing. I think there's a bug in the programming with that. There's boundary issues, but we might see that happening in this update, or we might see another update, so just be aware. That might be a cool thing to see, how the AIs are going to control their Mites and the Nellies, so just be aware of it. It's going to be cool, so let's see what they bring to us in this update. Another thing that we're probably going to be seeing, which I want to talk about now, is going to be the Cormorant and AI controlling the Cormorant. Now, this hasn't been confirmed, and the reason why is that, sorry to tell you guys, but the Cormorant most likely will not come out in update 2.0.1. I don't know the reason why. There hasn't been any hints to the reason why. Probably because the Cormorant will have some more bugs, which we'll talk about further in this video, but the Cormorant most likely will not come out in the next update. And that doesn't mean you cannot get the Cormorant, because there's other ways to get the Cormorant. Now, how do you get the Cormorant? Well, Red Button, they host a lot of tournaments, which they're hosting one upcoming right now within the next couple days between clans. They host active competitions on their Facebook, on Discord, on their Kia, on any one of their sites. You can find them on their forums. They have it too, so just check it out, get in contact with them, and see what they have going. They have it on Twitter too, so look at that. So the Cormorant, you can get access to that, but I don't see that hitting the store in the next update, so we will have to look forward to that in the next update, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be some other cool stuff that will be added. Now, the cool stuff that most likely will be added or might be added is we're looking at possibly having a new robot. Now, be aware that this robot isn't anything, this Titan isn't anything like what we've seen before. It's not going to be a model based on other Titans like the Nelly or the M.A.O or the Turpits or the M.A.O or the Ravager, so forth and so on, because Mech Berserker 4000, a community developer which I spoke about earlier, he's been talking about the fact that someone suggested, hey, why don't we have bots similar to the ones we have now? We want to see, you know, potentially a bot named the Wasp, a light version of the Cormorant that drops a payload. That's cool and all, but he said our goal is to try to implement the most amount of different and diverse types of bots to make the game as fun as possible. So be aware, that's not saying that there won't be another bot implementation in update 2.0.1, but that's to say that the good news is that whatever comes out in 2.0.1 will be something different that we haven't seen before. So that's going to be great. Let's look forward to that, and hopefully it won't be as buggy as the Cormorant, but I think that we have something solid that we can be counting on, which I will talk about some further ideas at the end of this video in the community idea part of the video, which I'll be doing at the end. So the last thing I want to talk about, with in accordance to our Titans update in update 2.0.1, is the Cormorant. Now this has been a big discussion, and it's been a big discussion, still will be a big discussion, because they're looking at some issues with it. They're also looking at some things they could change about it. Now the Cormorant has been in testing to clarify. Some players have it, but to be completely clear and transparent, the reason why some players have it is not because they've been getting special access, which YouTubers do get the bot ahead of time to be able to test it and to give us all the stats that we need, but other players that have it, they have it because they've won these competitions and tournaments, which we've been talking about. And also clarify, the Martian armor, that's also something that you can get through competitions and tournaments, which are done annually, well, not necessarily annually, but monthly, weekly, so forth and so on, whenever Red Button feels like they want to do another tournament, which they're pretty lenient about that. They do a lot of tournaments and giveaways, so just stay in contact with them. Now, a little bit overpowered than it is now, which is hard to believe, and that's ironic, because right now if you look at a lot of people's reviews on it, it's not the bot that it should be. It's too much of a light bot to cover its role that's supposed to be covering as a support bot. But the dive bomb mechanic was a mechanic that allowed the Cormorant to use its two medium weapon hard points, it's two heavy weapon hard points whenever it was falling. So what you do is you would switch into your special, you'd fly up, you'd fly over to where you want to be, you'd switch out of your special, you would descend a little while, you'd free fall, you'd use your two weapon hard points and shoot, and then you'd catch yourself before you hit the ground and fly back out and regain altitude. That's great and all, but that was somewhat overpowered in the time that they were using it, so they're thinking of potentially getting rid of that. Now, thank God, whenever they're talking about their discussion, they're doing their discussion, we might not see that removed, because there has been discussion of it in Mech Berserker's live stream about potentially taking away that dive bomb mechanic, but instead of taking away completely, having a 2-second delay to using your heavy weapons when you come out of your descent, when you come out of your fall, or having perhaps 50% damage debuff when you're coming out your fall, so that you're not doing that much damage, so it's not overly powered, or even at the same time having an accuracy debuff where whenever you're falling from spawn, or you're falling from taking it out of its flying mechanic, its accuracy is not that great, so you can't get shot across the map from some crazy behind Cormorant sniping business, which shouldn't be happening. So that's a good thing. And those ideas are credited to Shamu, XCT, the Hyena, and Titanator, all those great guys that were on Mech Berserker 4000's recent live stream, so go check it out. Great content again, and keep them posted with that. Now, another thing that was suggested lastly of the Cormorant was potentially a buff in working speed. Now, I'm not sure about this. They did say they're going to buff the they did say they're going to buff some Titan speed. I don't know which ones, but they might also buff, or take into consideration buffing the Cormorant speed, because of right now its working speed is a little bit slow, and when it comes out of its descent, it becomes pretty much a target for anyone that wants to shoot at it, or anyone that's waiting for it. And with it being such a light and flimsy Titan, that makes it a problem. Now, at the end of the day, there's some bad parts which we've seen. The Cormorant's a little bit buggy. It's not where it's supposed to be. But the good thing about it, and the good thing you surmise from all of this, is that Red Button and their developers and the YouTubers, thank you to all you guys, are taking their time. They're really trying to make good quality content, a good bot for all of us to use, so that we're not spending our money on something buggy, we're not spending our EC on something buggy, and we're not wasting our time on something that's crap. So we can thank them for putting out something and really trying to get the best quality product to us at the end of the day. Alright, the next thing we're going to be talking about in this update, let's get this video cracking right along, moving right along, we're moving at a good pace, is going to be our weapons in the next update. So what can we expect to see for our weapons in the 2.0.1 update? Now, we have some good weapons right now. We have the Mangler, we have the Inquisitor, we have all these great weapons that are being used, that everyone likes. We have this diversity of weapons. But here's the fact. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any really information or any real information hinting to additional weapons. But the fortunate thing about this, guys, is that there has been no lack of ideas, and I can certainly say this from a first-person perspective. There hasn't been no lack of ideas from you guys, from YouTubers, and from a lot of people inputting about new weapons. Now, some ideas like new drone backpacks for our turpits and for other heavy bots to prevent them from getting attacked, which that would be really cool to see how that would be implemented. New mine backpacks for possibly an artillery bot, which I'll talk about that later, and even to the extent of having auto turrets, something that could defend against light bots like the Might and the Little Sean on our turpits and other bots. So there are some cool ideas definitely out there in the mix. That's not to say none of them are going to be implemented, but I think it's a good idea and it's a good thing to take in consideration that there's a lot of cool ideas out there, and that developers are listening. They want to hear what we think, but we just have to voice it to them, and they're listening. If you want them to listen, go to Mech Berserker's 4000 livestream. I'm saying it again because, trust me, that's where you should be if you want your questions answered and you want to hear more about this. Okay, so one thing that has been talked about quite a lot and hinted and suggested on Mech Berserker's live stream, on other developer accounts, other live streams, is that we're going to see a new map and a new game mode. This is a fact, guys. Yes, we're bringing it here. They are bringing us a new map and a new game mode, so we're not just going to have a desert map and a snow map. We are going to have a brand new map. We don't know how big it is, we don't know what it's going to be like, but we know this is going to be great from the last couple maps we've seen, and they're putting a lot of time and work into this, and I hope it's going to be nice. So what we do know about this map is that this map will most likely be randomly chosen in matchmaking, so that means we can't exactly choose the exact map we want to play on, but it's a good thing that we're all going to have an equal chance to use all maps. And the fact is that not only are they getting a new map with us, but they're bringing a new game mode. That random game mode will also be incorporated with that random map, and those will all be randomly chosen in matchmaking mode. Now, what I want to say about this is that there has been hints that this mode is going to strongly involve AI. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking, oh, we've seen enough AI. What the hell are they doing? Why are they giving us all this robots? We want to play with some humans, right? We don't want to sit there and play around and shoot bots because, well, we could do that all the time. We want to play with some actual people and get that multiplayer feel. Well, Red Button's been considering that a lot. They've been talking about it on their live stream, and I think what the consensus about is that for right now, they're keeping bots in the game to create that multiplayer aspect, to not leave people hanging in areas where there's not a lot of people on the servers at one time. Some of us don't mind it, some of us do mind it. Well, if you do mind it, well, the good thing is that this new game mode, it might just be people versus robots. Who knows? But it's a good thing because we know this is going to be a cool game mode, and they guarantee that we're all going to like it. So let's see what they have to provide. No biases about this. No pretense, just let's see what we're going to get in the bottom line. But we know it's going to be good, and it's going to be a fun game mode. It's going to be a likely good addition to the game at the end of the day. So, one of the last things I want to talk about for concrete information about update 2.0.1, guys, is our likely tweaks to the current game. Now, these are very important things. This is what's going to make the game take off from where it is and turn into something more of a big, and we're drawing more people into the game. It's going to add to that advertising aspect. It's going to add to that multiplayer aspect. It's overall going to make the game that much better. I think this category is going to include a lot of what we've been looking for, a lot of stuff that you guys have been asking for, a lot of stuff that I've been asking for. Now, what we're looking at is some potential seasonal gameplay with seasonal rewards. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh crap, back to this mobile PUBG kind of season 1, season 2 things, but it's not going to be set up like that. It's going to be set up a little bit different. And the purpose of doing this right now is I think we can all agree that the cups in the current game mode really serve no purpose. They're kind of just a superiority, kind of look at my prestige kind of thing. It's not really any real purpose to grind cups. Once you get past 1600 cups, well, why am I playing this anymore? Yes, because it's fun, but why do I really want to grind? I don't really want to grind too much. Well, this gives us a reason to want to play more, and this gives us a reason to want to win those cups. And here's the reason why, is because they're looking at giving us season rewards with these cups. Now, here's what we can get for the season rewards. Most likely, we are going to get Titan cosmetics, skins and decals, more Martian skins, and possibly, potentially, T3 upgrades. Well, how's that going to work? Well, I'll tell you how. What we're looking at is with our season mechanics, they're most likely going to make it a 1 or 2 or 3 month season that goes on yearly, and the top person for trophies at the end of the season will get these special decals and fresh skins like the Martian that you can only get in the seasons. But don't worry, these seasons are going to happen yearly, so I think we can look forward to this being a fair thing. And it's not going to be a clan thing. There will be clan tournaments where you can win skins and new bots, but you can work outside your clan and still get skins and new T3 updates and Martian skins and all the good stuff. So there's not going to necessarily be loot boxes. I'm excited about that. We don't want to talk about what loot boxes remind us of. I don't want to talk about it. You guys don't want to talk about it. Please don't talk about it in the comment sections. If you do, you're probably going to get kicked out. But we know that they were going to give us some skins and cool decals. I'm watching you guys. There better not be any nasty decals out there, or they're going to limit this to one word decals. So watch your decals. Alright? And at the end of the day, I think we're going to be looking at some official clan system potentially in this update. I don't think too much. I think there's a lot of stuff already included this update. I think we're going to probably see some more clan systems in the next update. So this update at the end of the day was really looking at fixing the performance issues of the game. The game works pretty good so far, but as we all observed, there's some issues with lag, there's some bug issues, there's some AI issues, there's just some general basic complaints. And that's where I want to get into the part of the video, which is community ideas. What have been the consensus with the community? What does the community complain about? What are we asking for? What are some of our ideas to these new things? What can we contribute to the developers to make them really hear our voice? Because at the end of the day, someone can't say they heard you if you never spoke and if you never answered a question. You can never expect if you never asked a question, you can never expect an answer for a question that has gone unasked. You can never expect a remedy for a problem that you've never voiced is there. Now, we've all voiced our problems, so let's talk about what have we voiced, what do we want, and where can we go from here, and how can these updates mean more to us? Please comment in the comment section what you think, and what you think about this. I'll go through these, and let's get started. So one of the first, or a couple of the first things that we've been looking at for community ideas is a suggestion of a daily reward system, not necessarily loot boxes, but something that where if you get 10 trophies for a day, or if you shoot all the weapons off of turpits, or if you do some kind of special challenge that you can either get your trophies up or you can potentially get free upgrades, EC, something to give us a reward for people who get on daily, for people who grind daily, for people who like playing this game and they make it as kind of like a daily thing for them. And even if you don't do this game daily, you don't make it a daily thing for you, or a daily habit for you, just something for people who, when they get on, they don't have to grind all day in 3 and 4 days to get something that if they just play for a day, or if they just play for not even a day, if they play for an hour, 30 minutes, they can still win something at the end of the day to get themselves somewhere better. So this idea was suggested by Jabberwocky. He's a great player. I believe he has a YouTube, so check him out and go and watch him. So that idea was suggested by Jabberwocky. Another idea by him was the idea that I spoke about, which was a light flying cormorant bot, like a little Sean, but instead this bot would have been called the Wasp. This guy probably would have had a quick sting and a fast bing whenever you hear him fly by. Anyways, the point of the bot was supposed to be something that was very quick, and it was flying at the same time along the cormorant, but at the same time it was our light version of it, more of an annoying gnat, and it's probably going to be the true neck biter that everyone's been talking about whenever you bring up your turpits, and this thing can't help but to shoot off your Inquisitor every damn time, which we all get pissed off at, right? Moving on from there, Titanator, another one of these great guys. I'm not sure if he does YouTube, but you've probably seen him in your games. If you haven't, he's a great pro player for bot. Just throwing him out there. He suggested potentially having free-for-all matches And what he was saying was that, how about this? How about whenever we go into matchmaking, and we're matchmaking, potentially, when you see how many players you have in a game, if there's not up to 6 players, then it automatically turns into a free-for-all match of real players. So we're lessening the involvement of AI and increasing the involvement of more PvP, person versus person, rather than PvE type of playstyle. I think this is a great idea. And he said that up to 6 players, so now if you got more than 6 players, then it can turn into a 3v3 or a 4v3, but until it gets to 6 players, you'd most likely be doing a PvP, free-for-all kind of circumstance, building your rep, getting better at the game. I think that would have been fun. That was a great idea, so thanks for throwing that out there, Titanator. Moving right on. So we had, Shamu now spoke about a special AI design in one of Mech Berserker's live streams, which I want to talk about. And this design was potentially dropping down our wait time from 3 minutes, so if you're in a rush, you don't have to wait as long to get into the game, to potentially getting right into the game. But in this extent, they would make the AIs work better and work more like humans, where now the AIs you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference between a human and an AI. Now, personally, I think that he had good intentions behind this, but I don't really support this, and I don't want to be the dissenting opinion, but sometimes you just have to let your voice heard. You have to let your voice be heard, like I said, and I'm going to do that now. I don't think this is a good idea, because I think that it's not necessarily a deceptive tactic. No, correct that. It is a deceptive tactic to rename AIs into people and to make it look like people, then take away the matchmaking tool that tells us how much people we have in the game so that games run faster. I wouldn't want to play like that. I don't think anyone else would want to play like that, so I'm not going to necessarily support that, but I am going to mention that because I think that deserves a mention and consideration. Some people might be for it. I'm not for changing AIs and turning them into human names and then making them appear human and then taking away all the human players and kind of just doing that so we can get into matches further. I will wait 2 minutes. I will wait 3 minutes to get into a match with some human players, with some regular people that I know I'm playing with and people that I know. That's me personally. That may not be you. Comment in the comment section what you think about that. Another thing, which is one of the big things that I want to talk about, was our guy Cairo. Cairo's definitely not someone you want to see on the enemy team. He's part of the Iron Smiles clan, so just shout out to them. Great clan, excellent clan. I'm not promoting them, but because I'm not a part of them, but they're still great players and I like them, very friendly. So Cairo suggested an artillery titan, and it was a heavy titan, more like a Tirpitz, but instead of being more like a Tirpitz and more being able to walk, it's going to be the size of a building. It's going to have most likely 3 weapon slots, and it can switch. Here's a special part: it can switch between stationary mode and moving mode. And it would, instead of having legs to move, it would have tracks. So this kind of big, huge, bulky, monolithic type of titan that instead of being something with legs that walks around that's going to get sped up in the next update, it would more be an artillery bot, which would kind of stay in the back, and it would be able to switch between artillery mode and out of artillery mode. And in artillery mode, it would be doing AoE damage, which would be kind of cool, just like the beacon, except it would be like a large beacon that does centered in damage. But then to talk about its cons, because of course every bot is a pro, but it also has to have a weakness of vulnerability, which its vulnerability in this case I would say would be our light bots, our little Shans, our mites, any fast bot like a Ravager that would be able to aim onto and lock onto and wrap around the whole entire place and perhaps flank it. Those would be its biggest weaknesses, but at the same time, it would still be a cool thing to see implemented. I think it would be a great thing for a heavy bot, because of right now, with balancing, not only is Red Button looking at balancing the game better, but they're also looking at balancing the amount of bots in use. Right now, we have 2 light bots, we have 2 medium bots, and we pretty much just have 1 heavy bot. Now, in terms of balance, that's not a lot of options for heavy bots. So this might be a nice, cool thing to implement. Talk to me, guys. Tell me what you think about this. Would you think an artillery titan would work? How do you think it wouldn't work? Would you like to see this implemented? Would you like to see perhaps a drone backpack on it? An auto turret? This is how we make our voice be heard. This is how we let them know what we want, because they're listening. So just a couple honorary mentionings. We have our animal-based bots like a bear, a mantis, a tiger. I believe there's some people speaking about perhaps a snake-like bot, that if they made a new map that had tunnels and a jungle, and it was a city, that this bot could, tunnel into the jungle. So it would be a fast bot. It could climb hills, and then it could potentially auto-kill any type of light bot upon grabbing it because it would have teeth. I don't know how they're gonna make a snake-like bot or a mantis or a bear bot, but these are just some suggestions that they've been talking about, and I think would be cool. So some sure information. There has been speak about shields. Physical shields will definitely be added, but they're not going to be any time in the present. They're going to be way in the future, so we might see some physical shields. So it's just kind of fun to think about where this game can be going. We may even see some electrical warfare with more types of electrical types of weapon that can be used against your enemies to perhaps stun them and do an EMP type of attack. Who knows? This game has tons of potential capabilities, and the developers are itching to give us more possibilities at the end of the day. Jabberwocky came up with an idea again about carpet bombs, or perhaps a kamikaze titan that you could either opt into, either fly into a titan. Alright, I know this sounds bad, but fly into a titan with a payload and it blows it up. You sacrifice yourself for perhaps a lot of damage on another titan, or you can have another option of flying over the titan and dropping a carpet bomb. Who knows? They might even implement this to a Cormorant. We just have to see where this goes from here. We have the auto turret idea, and then Zero G Gaming, he thought about a game type perhaps called Escort, where one team would be going after a target, and the other team would be escorting that target to the other side of the field. And then if the team escorted the target, they would win. If the defending team held off or killed the target, then our team or that defending team would win at the end of the day. A heavy spider robot. And then, last but not least, they're thinking about some new map levels. Now, think about this. This might be in the new update. There has been talk about a new map, and that map might be a jungle. We might see a map of tunnels on the moon. We might see a map with a jungle city. These have been a lot of talks about what we're going to see in a new map. So just stay in tune, guys. Stay connected. This game has a lot of potential. There's a lot of stuff here to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can drop a like or leave a subscribe if you liked it. Just some personal call outs at the end of the day to thank them for these great ideas. So I want to thank Xe the Hyena, Jabberwocky, Cairo, Titanator, Shamu, Mech Berserker 4000, Sergey, Nikolai, our excellent developers. Thank you guys. Be sure to leave a like on their videos and go check them out at the end of the day. Zero G Gaming is a great guy. And others not mentioned, thank you for sharing your ideas and opinions. All of them may not have been incorporated and may not be incorporated in the game at the end of the day, but I think they were all definitely worth considering, definitely worth talking about. These are cool ideas. I'm glad to see where this game is going to be going in 2019. And just to leave on the last final note, I just want to say that when I was about a week or two ago, back in 2018, I'm saying back in 2018, but we just went to 2019, funny. But back a week ago, guys, when I was playing this game with a couple people from the bot Discord, we were talking about the recent live stream from Titanator, from Mech Berserker, and we just got into a conversation about the direction of the game, fixing bugs, and a lot of people are kind of getting mad at us or mad at the developers because they're saying the game's moving too slow, and it's not moving as fast as it should be, and there's been some promises that have been backed up on it, and you know, that's bad, and I'm with you on that, guys. Yeah, the game's not moving as fast as it should be, and there has been some promises that they've been backed out on, but those are all for a reason. It's all for a purpose. And what was told me and what was said to me when we were talking about this was that I was speaking to I believe it was Epic Monologue, and he was he's actually a computer engineer. He got a degree in it, and he was talking about it from his point of view, from a computer engineer point of view. You know, Red Button, it's not a huge group. It's not as big as any other group that we've seen. It's a small group, and they're putting out an excellent game. I'm not here to praise them, but I'm not here to rant about it either. And with the amount that they're putting out, they have to put a lot of time and effort into making the game as best as possible. And he said that, you know, it seems on our side that it's taking really long. This game's been up for 2 years, and not all of our promises are being met. But what we have to understand, like in this update, is that although it's taking long, they were trying to make the best possible code and build this game from the bottom to the top with a good foundation. Because as everyone knows, as anyone knows, you don't have to be a house builder to understand this, but in order to make a good house, in order to have a good in order to have a good building, you have to start with a strong foundation and a strong set of people. We have a great set of people, but the foundation of the game is what's being worked on right now. At the end of the day, it may be slow, We may not see everything we want to get in the next update, but we know for one thing that red button, they are giving us what we need. They may not give us what we want, but they're giving us what we need to get a better game. So the question is, do we know what we need? That is all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for dropping a like. Thank you for subscribing. I hope to see you next time, and please enjoy your year of 2019. Remember, we only have one day this year, every day. This is the only day of 2019, and the rest of the days are going to be the only days of 2019, so please enjoy the year. Have a great day. Be safe. Stay safe. Enjoy the holidays, or the holidays to come. Enjoy everything about it. Enjoy the game, and I'll see you next time. TitansLeague out.